And it's quite good because sometimes, you know, I prefer people that go live and explain the carousel rather than having a very
Mm.
massively heavy texted carousel. Because I see some carousels that should be novels. They are so long, honestly.
This is how to host an IG live with Joseph Rubelli, and we're going to get into the main topic right now. I want to ask you a question. What are the benefits of hosting an IG live?
Instagram Live is one of the best feature, in my opinion, in the platform, and the one that get used the less. Like literally,
Mm.
if you think about IG Live has been going on for a long time, but not a lot of people use it. And I think it's the only way to be human on Instagram because everything else looks polished. Everything on Instagram looks so polished and so perfect, and everybody looks like they have the best life, they live in the best place, they have everything figured out, they have the perfect body and whatever. And when you go live in reality, it is actually a very good way to build a human connection. And at the end of the day, that's what we thrive for on social media. People connect to people. I don't personally connect to shoes, or I don't connect to, very nice plants on social media. It might be cool for your branding, but I don't relate for that. So when I see a person live, I'm really excited to to see and to tune in. And the energy that you bring on live is really important. And there is something called, I was talking to another creator today on a meeting. We were talking about future collab that we're going to do. And I came out with this theory. It's called the mirror theory, and I want you to listen to that because it's really useful. If you think about when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know, you basically are looking at the reflection of yourself, and whether
Mm.
you're happy or sad, you're going to see that in the mirror. Now I want you to think about the mirror like your audience. The way you're happy, the way you're sad, the way you're excited, the way you can be bothered, all this emotion will be reflected on the audience. If you feel happy, they
Mm.
feel happy too. If you feel excited, they will feel excited,
Oh
they will
yeah,
be
definitely.
excited as well. So we are the mirror of our viewers. So the energy that you bring on the live, it's usually a 10% perception of what it really is. So that's why when people are really excited in real life and they go live, this perception is like, oh my God,
That's
this
a
is such a
great
good
point.
energy. I just want to be here. It was like, hello, I'm just waiting for someone to tune in. And you're like, okay, great. Is it a funeral account? What do they sell? It's just like, sometimes you go into some lives. I mean, one of the most amusing thing for me is to go on the lives on TikTok. I mean, I honestly think I go on TikTok, and TikTok's a different place,
Mm.
right? So, but I love to see how less polished they are to the extreme because people feel themselves when they're sleeping, which
Yeah.
I think is brilliant. And I'm sometimes like, why am I bothering to even plan it? I should just literally put a camera when I fall asleep watching Bridgerton. So, of course, it's not the same type of content, I would say, but it's really funny to think about that. I always say that our biggest haters are ourselves in our brain
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, that's a good
And it's
point. Another another good point was just actually made in the comments. I'm gonna make sure I shout this one out. Social media creators stated, "For me, lives is where you connect with the real person behind the profile image." I love the way that you put that because you're absolutely right with that. It's an
it's true.
opportunity for you to, as the host, be authentic with your audience because they want some of that. As Joseph was saying, we see so much of the polishedness of what we put out on Instagram and our feeds, even in our reels to a certain degree. But I can't polish nothing here. I'm speaking to you
It's
live.
true.
If I
And
mess up, I
you
mess up. I have a dog
you do
downstairs, and if he starts barking right now, what am I to do? That's the
exactly.
authentic realness of my life with you guys. And I think
Yeah.
we sometimes look at it in a negative way, like, oh no, I have to show up perfect. No, it's not perfect, it's progress. If you could do better than the last time you showed up, that's better. That's more evolution. And I think that's what you want in regards to your lives. You want to kind of just continue doing better for your audience
It
at the end of the day.
It's true, and there is also very fun, and which is why I always say if you replace perfection and criticism with humor, you're gonna have such a good time. It's so much
Yeah.
better. You know, I'm famous for dropping my phone every time I go live. It's just a thing. Now it's not happening because I'm actually holding it, but usually I have like a thing that I put on the window.
Don't jinx it. Don't
And
jinx
it's just like, no,
it.
it's just like, and it's funny because every time it drops, and then when I watch it back, I'm like, Jesus, I could have edited this out, but I'm like, you know what, it doesn't really matter. So it's funny because at the end of the day, we do relate also, I think a very good point to link to it is authenticity. This word is overused. You know, everybody feels like, oh, everything needs to be authentic. And live is a very good way to be authentic because it's real and there isn't
Mhm.
any editing or anything necessarily scripted too much, hopefully. You know, it's really important to give the live. This is a very good tip. If you're looking to go live, keep it very, you know, keep it structured, but don't keep it scripted. Don't write everything you're going to say
Yeah.
because people will know.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just one of those things. Keep it simple. And I would say keep it short. If you're going live for the first time, go 8 minutes, go like 5 minutes, maybe less, you know, just tuning in, go live, wait for people to join. Don't say wait people for join. Instead, you know, sometimes the first 5 minutes when you're not expert or you don't do many lives, you don't know how it works. The first few minutes is
Yeah.
like this. Are they going to come? Are they not going to come? And so you want to always think about that people will probably watch this on a replay. So you can say, welcome to today's episode of XYZ. If you're tuning in right now, welcome to the live. If you're
Yeah.
tuning in on a replay, make sure you let us know in the comments, replay. So that's actually a very good CTA. You know, you give them a very good reason to comment below. You understand where the people are tuning in from. And they also give you usually their feedback, hopefully. And it sort of avoids the whole live waiting for people to join and it's like silence. You know,
Yeah.
you get into some live sometimes and it's silence at the beginning and you think like you walk into the wrong room.
But before you give away all of the tips, that was actually my next question in regards to the main topic of how to host an IG live, and you've already given us a couple. I want to see if we can kind of go back and forth because I had 3 that I want to share with you guys as well. That these aren't just 3 that I'm just naming willingly. These are 3 that I practice myself, and I'm quite sure Joseph is going to name a few that he does himself as well. So if you had another one that you wanted to share right now, what's another one that you would suggest for people to help push forward to host a successful IG live?
So I would say if you want to have it, if you're looking to do a series and kind of go live very often, I would say have a very good structure of it. So know a beginning, a middle, and an end. So structure, but like bullet points, not scripting. That
Yeah.
applies for video recording as well. And keep it extremely short to begin with. Once you get comfortable, you can make it longer.
Yeah, I like that. Once you get comfortable, you start to feel more comfortable with it. That it doesn't feel like a burden to go longer. I like that. I'll share one with mine. Features that IG Live produces for us. I mean, they have features like practice. If you ever feel nervous about going in front of the camera, you could use the practice feature. You could do collabs like we're doing right now, so you don't have to be by yourself. You can speak with somebody else. With collabs, you could do up to 3 other individuals and have a room full of 4 people to just communicate with. Instagram loves it when we use their features because they build it out for us. So why not actually utilize some of those features even in IG Live?
I have another tip that I think will be useful for anyone out there looking to go live, but they only post static content such as carousels and infographic. So if you are using an infographic or carousels, you haven't done many reels necessarily, or you've done a bit, but it's not really your thing, but you're more a carousel person. How can you then add a live? So here's the trick. You go live alone, you convert your carousel into vertical and you use the screen sharing feature on live. So you basically work your audience through your carousel. So you post a carousel about a topic the day before, you go
Yeah.
live the next day and you explain your carousel in person and it's like a live training. So that's a
Yes.
very good way to use the feature to go live alone, but to not necessarily be on the spot because people will look at the presentation rather than looking at you necessarily. And it's a very good way to connect with the topic and see if people are really genuinely interested about it.
Yeah, I like that tip a lot. I've seen a few people using it. Even I used it. It's called the picture-in-picture feature for those that are wondering, and that was what I actually used in the beginning of this very first live. I always ask a question of the day when I start a live, but you're talking about using that to actually create like a workshop in a way and teach people.
Yeah.
That's
So I did it
excellent.
when it came out the first time. It was a few months ago. I was one of the first people doing it because I wanted to try it, and I instantly thought, "That's great. It's repurposing. I just
Yeah.
take the content that I posted yesterday, put it into vertical, and then there we go." And it's quite good because sometimes, you know, I prefer people that go live and explain the carousel rather than having a very
Mm.
massively heavy texted carousel, because I see some carousels that should be novels. They are so long, honestly, and you're like, you could have done this in like two, or you
Yeah.
could have done this in like a series or whatever. So instead of having a very heavy format text which people realistically are not going to read, you want to probably keep it simple on the wording and then go live and sort of walk them through like a presentation. And if you are in the educational field, that's a very good way to build authority,
Yes.
because you literally look like you know what you're talking about, and at the same time you are not having to learn everything you're going to say because it's in front of you, so you can kind
Hmm.
of read about it and then sort of get people to know your voice, get people to know how you operate, and also the reason why you posted that topic instead of another one. Sometimes I go into pages and say, oh, it's the analogy of Elon Musk. It's like, how did she come out with that? Last week she was talking about cappuccinos. What happened? Like sometimes I'm wondering, like sometimes I see these ideas and you're like, how did she come out with this?
Yeah.
What is the process? I'm very interested because I create content all the time for me and for other people. And the train of thought of how do you get to the idea, I find that very fascinating. And a lot of people don't post about enough about how do they come out with the idea of the
Yeah.
content.
That's a really good point. I like that. That you know what? I might have to take note of that one. I'm gonna have to save that one for myself too. I don't do
Yeah,
that enough.
it's fun. Like,
Thank
for
you.
example, the reason why the series I created on Reels about pop culture was interesting to me is because I was watching Sex and the City, the new reboot. I was
Hmm.
watching This Is Us, which we are a big fan of, both of us. We
Yes.
always, for someone that doesn't know, me and Heston are like, This Is Us and Amazon
No
Prime.
spoilers. I haven't seen the next episode
Now,
yet.
me neither. I don't know because I don't have Hulu yet here, so I don't
Oh, okay.
know. I don't know anything, but so no spoilers. But like I love TV series and I love celebrity commentary. So I was like, okay, I am consuming this content when I'm not working. This is like I was watching and just like that, and everybody was talking about how rubbish it was, and I didn't think it was that bad. So I was like, okay, how do I link this? I think I want to talk about this because I'm generally excited about this series, but how do I link it to my audience? I was like, okay, so Carrie Bradshaw, influencer marketing. She's the first influencer. That's how I link it. Influencer marketing to how to build brand authority and how to do storytelling. So that was the angle of my first video. It was about, okay, great. She was the first influencer, and why was it so successful, and why Manolo Blahnik became so successful? Because the shoes became a character on the narrative of the show. They were as much as a character as she was. So that was the angle I took. So, and it requires a little bit more stretching in brain when you're thinking about it, but it's really cool if you manage to do it because you
Yeah,
can link all your interests in one profile.
that's a really good idea. I love that tip. I'll share my last tip. I want to make sure that we do get to the Q&A. I see we have a few questions that rolled in. My last one is Q&A. I've seen some IG lives where people don't give the audience an opportunity to ask questions, and I think you're missing an incredible opportunity because one of the reasons that people go on live is they want to kind of engage with the individual that's hosting, whether it's one or multiple individuals. And the best way for them to do that is not just in the comments, which you guys are crushing right now in the comments. I am watching the comments right now roll by. But one of the best things that you guys could do is ask those people that are hosting and guesting on lives questions, or even send them comments in the Q&A feature, because when you do, you get an opportunity to directly learn from something that you are directly interested in. If you have a problem, if you want to learn more about, maybe you want to learn more about Joseph's strategy that he just suggested in regards to Sex in the City, you could actually pose a question right then and there and get in real time response. And I think that's an incredible opportunity that you should not dismiss. So with every live that I think that you do, save whether it's 5 minutes, 10, half of the live if you want to. Save time for the Q&A. And I'll give you another reason why to do this right before we get into our own Q&A is because when you switch on the Q&A button, it now changes the your profile image on other people's feeds on the home feed that says live. It now switches to Q&A. And those individuals that see that, they're now interested to say, oh, what's going on? You know, Joseph is doing a Q&A. Let me jump into the live to see what's going on. So it actually builds brand awareness of those that are not in your live yet to potentially jump in while giving your current audience an opportunity to engage with you directly. So it's a 2 for 2. It's 1 for 1 type of situation where you're winning on both ends. I think we might have to do another part 3 because I actually still have more on my list. But I hope that you guys were able to take away a lot of the information that myself and Joseph had just shared. It is going to help if you take this information and you practice it. I guarantee you, you're going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable, whether you're practicing in front of the camera, as Joseph has suggested you do, or you take some of these tips like using Q&A and engagement to actually talk with your audience and get them involved as well. It's an investment for them as well. So let them actually reap something from it. Take this information, move forward, and as I always say, step your grandma.